go now to the vision board, because we now, you know, guys, a little bit about Liliana. Liliana is a life coach. Hopefully she will come as a guest now and then to give us little glimpses of life coaching. And if you're interested in life coaching, just let me know and she will give the information, or you can give your information now and you can contact directly with Liliana. Liliana, give us your email or your contact or your website.
Oh, absolutely. So you can find me on Instagram, and I'm Liliana punto, like Liliana.Proano, my last name, punto dot coach. Liliana point or Liliana dot Proano dot coach. We can type it up.
Yes. We can type it up. We'll type it up right in the comments, in the description of this podcast. But now let's go. We are going to do a separate, we're going to do like the vision board. And this part, I'm going to put it separately at the beginning of the year. So if you just want to work in that, you'll have a separate podcast of the vision board. You want the whole story? This is it, here, now. Okay? Absolutely. So let's do this is the vision board. I have a friend that's done it. Says, yeah, it's not immediate, but you have it and it eventually works.
Absolutely.
Tell us about it and let's start it.
Okay. So I've worked with vision boards since I was 21. So they work. The reason I know is because everything that I've created through a vision board has come true. Even the things that I didn't want. This is why whatever it is that you want, you have to be really clear on what it is that you want in life, because it's manifestation. So I remember my first vision board, I was with my friends. Christina, do you know the book, The Secret?
Yeah, I know it. I've been working on it many times. It is true, right?
Yes. So I don't know the book so much, but the movie, the documentary, I watched that with my friends and we decided, let's do our vision boards. So we got, you just get some carton paper, some colors, some magazines, scissors, glue. You start looking. It's fun. It's a fun activity with girlfriends. You look through the magazine. You start kind of looking at things that you want. And I remember we were 22 years old. We all wanted to have, careers. We all wanted to be married. So we would, cut a ring in there, a wedding dress, you name it. I remember I wanted white teeth. I cut up a picture of I don't know if I still have that vision board. I think it's somewhere. Tiny little vision board. Anyway.
If you find it, let us know. Send it to me and I will add it to the podcast.
So I remember in my vision board, I had cut up these eyes of a guy, a boy, because I didn't have a relationship. So the guy's eyes were brown and I would put them in my vision board. So I was dating guys that had brown eyes, but they were not nice guys. They were terrible. And I remember, okay, I got to get rid of those eyes, because you do attract what you put on a vision board. I took those eyes out. I didn't put anything. Instead, I turned the paper around. I remember I started writing what I really wanted in a relationship, like someone to take care of me, someone that knows that speaks another language, someone that loves to dance in like culture, Latin culture, someone that is professional. Like things that were really, really important for me in a man. So I wrote them down. I put that paper away. I don't even know what happened to it. I just stopped looking at it. I want to say that maybe 2 years later, I found the paper again. And I thought, oh my God. I looked at the back and I thought, oh, that's my husband. That's my boyfriend. Exactly. And it's my husband now. And the funny part about it is that all of those things that I wrote in the back of the paper is who he is. But he doesn't have brown eyes. Remember, I took out those eyes, and his eyes are green. So anything you put on a vision board becomes real. So I attracted my husband in that vision board. Okay? So it's very real. And throughout my career, doing a lot of workshops with women, we started working deeply on what are the values, like what are the needs that we have as women. And I just want to show you, this is one of my vision boards. This is like one of the first vision boards I made in Spain. And for me, it was really important to run. So I'm a runner, to get into the ocean. Yoga is a big deal for me. So
for me too.
So these are love, relationship, family. And my family was already I already started building my family, but this was the vision board I made when I started working professionally in Barcelona. as a coach. So I still have it because it just keeps reminding me of the things that are important for me, like the femininity. I'm a big fan of whitewater boarding, swimming, the ocean. I love Frida Kahlo. These are just in traveling, viajar. Here's the earth, here's the planet. And then it's also really important in a vision board to look at these images and say to yourself, well, how does that make me feel? It's got to be uplifting. If it's something that makes you feel like, oh, yeah, I never go to the ocean, it makes you miserable, then this is not the picture for you. You have to put some pictures or images that are
That makes you feel good.
That makes you feel good, that motivates you. Now, I did that and I worked on this vision board. I looked at it every day in my meditation, and your brain starts to really connect all those images into the brain and the feelings that you get from looking at those pictures, and things just start to align. So a lot of these things, I have definitely attracted.
So let's take some steps. Let's take steps for people to make it.
Okay.
Because I want to add this to as a separate podcast also for the beginning of the year, so people can start with a vision board. Do you have to do one a year?
No, you don't have to do one a year. Absolutely. You can do one that's yours personal for a whole life. Okay. I think, and if you have experience with vision boards, my opinion is don't look for pictures in a magazine. Okay. Create it with drawing it, pencil and color, and drawing what it is that you want. That's actually your vision. Those are actual visions and colors, and the way you draw the tree or whatever it is that you want to attract. Those are your visions. And it's not about it being perfect. Mind you, when you draw your own vision board, when you draw it, it's because you've already had experience with vision boards. If it's the first time you make a vision board, then I definitely...
I'm a newbie.
You're a newbie? Okay. I would definitely recommend, Christina, you watch The Secret. That would be the first thing. Watch the documentary, because even though it's a little bit old now, such great information comes out of that movie, because it gives you an idea of what to focus on. That would be the first thing. The second thing is don't do it alone. Find some girlfriends to do it with.
Or your child?
Well, your family. This is the vision board I created with my family. This is what we did before we started sailing. My daughter was about 9 or 8 years old when we did this vision board. This is why she already knew that we were going to be traveling sometime.
That you're grabbing them out of school and say, okay, we're going to change our life overnight.
You can't, right? But she already knew that something was going to happen. So as a family, I remember it was a Saturday. After breakfast, I had the magazines all out there, my husband and I, the scissors, the glue, my kids were there. And we just started cutting out pictures. Oh, I would love to see this. I would love to see that. Oh, my mom, I love elephants. So we cut out all these images, right? And my husband's like, he found this boat. He's like, so we cut up the boat because he really wanted to go sailing. And mind you, I'm not a sailor. I grew up in Colombia, so for me it was a process to learn how to sail. And he's a natural fish. He's from the south of France. So for me, that was a process. But this we created when our kids were very, very young. After this was done, I think it got manifested 3-4 years later. So
if you're in a rush, don't expect that, right?
The thing is,
because this is a lifelong vision for you, for your journey.
Exactly. We don't have control of manifestation. We can put it out there, think about what we want, but then there's this energy, call it God, call it the universe, call it the cosmos, that does their share of work. They're the ones, or that energy is what starts to come to you. But there's things that we are out of our control. I think it's important as well, Christina, that when you make a vision board and you cut this up, is that in the back of it, you write down how you want to feel. The feeling part, connecting to the feeling part of a vision board is probably the most important thing. Because you can see this image and think, oh my God, I'm scared, right? You can think fear. But in this case, you have to think adventure, freedom, fun, sun, water. So it's all here, and the types of things that we want to experience together. Like I remember, we want to work on freedom, family, love, joy, balance, easy flow, aprender a vivir, learn new skills. Like these are all the things that we wanted to do out of this experience. And we put it on our, in our refrigerator. We would look at it every day and live our life. But then we started to take actions, my husband and I. Okay, what's the first action? He started sailing. He started taking courses. I started taking courses. I started to do paddle surf. See, this is the reason why I started doing paddle surf. In this vision board, I got the paddle surf there, and I got the paddle as a gift for Christmas. So I started going into the ocean and getting used to the water. It was a process that took a couple of years.
You're fearless, Liliana. Okay, action.
I think fear is an energy that we're afraid to take. Like we think fear is something that we want to avoid, but it's actually what keeps us going. It's what keeps the heart and it keeps the heart pumping, and it keeps you more alive. It's the beauty of life, right? And by the way, having that 9-to-5 job is great, but maybe there's something else that you want to do in life. Maybe it's opening up a little business. Maybe it's having a new relationship. Anything is possible.
Anything is possible. So what after? You take action and then?
And you start taking those actions. You start taking one action at a time. I mean, and some of those actions are so uncomfortable and hard, Christina. So uncomfortable and hard, but that's it. And the thing is this, right? As a coach, I have mentors. I've had mentors throughout my journey. I did not do this trip alone. Yes, my family participated, but I had mentors that would help me stay grounded, like the real life, but also think further. Like, what is it that you guys are creating? And I would keep the momentum going. I kept the kids going. I kept my husband going, organizing what we needed to organize. It was not easy. But in the end, one action leads to the next action, and you start to build momentum.
And that's all.
And that's it.
So that's it. So it's easy.
Just get started. Just get started.
Just feel it, start it, and just start it. And the hard thing is to start things and go with the flow, with your instinct, right? Because sometimes if you're trying to do things that are not happening, they don't go. You're wondering, it's like, am I doing something wrong, or is it not the right flow? There's no flow here.
I think you're absolutely right, Christina. There are things that sometimes we want too much, right? Sometimes it's like, oh, I want this. But in the end, it's not to our best benefit. It really isn't. Either that, or because you're being trained to take on a little bit more. So I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. Right now, I'm getting ready to go to America to do a retreat and to do some workshops to work with women. If my kids were younger, right, when my kids were younger, I wouldn't be able to do that. Even though I wanted to do that, I wasn't able to do it. And it was a failure. All the things that I tried doing as an entrepreneur were not working for me. And part of it was because I was taking care of a family. Now my kids are older. They can take care of themselves. So I'm letting them go, and I'm focusing my energies and time in what I can do, so that I'm not going crazy like a chicken without a head, like a lot of people running around doing too many things.
Yeah. That's so common, right? So anyway, Eliana, thank you. But something comes to my mind constantly. It's like, how do we deal with the fear? Because you are fearless. All your exciting, your adventures meant that you did it. But many of us live with fear in different amounts of, degrees of fear. How do you do that? And how you do it when people say, okay, maybe you have the money, I don't have the means to do all of this. Both are important things that our listeners and viewers
Okay.
are thinking?
I think, like I said, working with coaches or having a mentor or having one of those friends that it listens to you, not from your story, not from your circumstances, but really, really supports what you want. When you have people that you can surround yourself with amazing people like that, and that means sometimes you have to walk away from people that are a little negative, right? If we stay with people that are positive, we're going to feel more positive. And for example, my biggest fear when we decided to do this trip, my biggest fear was drowning. My biggest fear was like, here I am with my kids. And that was the biggest fear for a lot of my family. My mom would go to church and pray so that I would change my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of fear around water and ocean, especially my Latin Colombian culture. And part of it is, I don't want to say ignorance. There's a part of our bodies that says fight or flight, right? Fight or flight is like defense mechanisms to make sure that you're alive. That's our mechanism. But if you're not prepared, you're going to go into that fight or flight. But if you do prepare yourself, like we weren't going to go in the water with our children without knowing how to navigate and practice. Like the more you practice, the more you go, the more actions you take, the more you face that fear, the more fearless you become. That's the way it works.
Action makes you fearless. I love it. Action makes you fearless. That's it.
And you start to fall in love with the fear. It's like, I see you, fear. I can feel you. And you start saying, I can feel you. I'm scared, but I'm still going to do it.
Wonderful. I love it. Anyway, Liliana, how did now thank you, all of you. Get ready for your vision board now or towards the end of the year or the beginning of the year or whenever you feel like it, right? But I think that when we close a year, we start another one, or when it's a birthday or when it's a big change in your life, something that's a moment that you feel like, wow, you don't have to do it because we told you or it is just when you feel it. And you
Absolutely.
feel it when you feel it, right?
It has to come.
And that's all good. So how does this adventure sailing around the Caribbean change you or evolved each of you? And how did the dog do?
Oh, the dog was amazing. Every person and dog in that boat had a role to play. Every one of us had a role to play. Not only the physical job of having to do work because you're working on a boat. For example, my husband, who was the most technical person, he knows a lot about math and how to lower the sails. I was the cook. I did most of the cooking. My daughter brought the humor, and they would clean up the house, their rooms, and tidy up. And my son was in charge of the dinghy. The dinghy is a small boat that's annexed to the bigger boat. He learned how to become the captain of that boat, so he would take care of that small boat. So we each had a role to play. You don't sail a boat alone. It's impossible. So
Yeah.
it's impossible. I think the most important thing that we learned was teamwork, how to work together. There was no other way. This boat is not going to sail by itself. Everybody has to participate.
How has that changed in their lives now that back in school, in another country now, in France, another language? Although it's your husband, their dad's country, right? But they haven't lived there until now.
For a while, yeah. I think
Yeah.
it's been kind of like a hard awakening to go back to that 9 to 5 job. But at the same time, it gives you so much stability as a family. Like we know what to expect. In a boat, you don't know what to expect. You're dependent on the weather. Sometimes you have to go because there's a hurricane coming. So every day is a little different. Structure changes a lot in a boat. On land,
What are some of the adventures that you had that you can tell us? Something that
oh God, Christina,
comes up to your mind.
we ran away from a hurricane. We escaped a hurricane. And I think
How do you do that?
oh God. So now we're going into deeper conversations, right? So when you're in the ocean or when you're in nature and you're surrounded by a lot of nature, something happens. Like your brain becomes more expansive When you're on land and there's so much stuff happening, like, I don't know, the driving every day, going to work every day, watch out for the dog, watch out for the grandma crossing the road. There's so much stimulus, there's so much information happening at the same time. You're almost on survival. When you're in a setting that's more calm, even though sometimes the boat life can be hard, but it's more natural, your creativity expands, including your intuition, right? There's this thing, there's a connection to nature that I feel I can't explain it in words.
Tell us, how does intuition save your life? Because you mentioned that in the notes you sent me.
I did. So, okay, let's talk about that. Because I feel like for me, I kept the heart of the boat. Like I kept listening to all of us, like what are the needs as a family, but also what is it that as a family we needed. And when we bought the boat in Martinique, which is an island, it's a French island in the Caribbean. And we bought it around May. So hurricane season in the Caribbean begins around June, July, August. Oof, be careful, heavy storms. So we bought it in May. We had to get used to the navigation. How does it work? The boat, has its own proper differences. You need to learn how to get used to it. So we started practicing. And the first thing everybody kept saying is, you have to go south. Keep going south to the last island, which is Grenade. So we need, because that's where we would be safest from the hurricanes, but also that's where we can get a few of the things that we needed to change in the boat. Like we needed to change in front of the boat, we had a catamaran. So we had one of those nets. The net needed to be fixed, all these different little things that needed to be fixed. So we started sailing south, and there was a small island called 𝐂𝐫𝐞𝐚 right above Grenade. And my husband loved it. He's like, this is such a cute island. Why don't we stay here and get the boat fixed here? But in my gut, I kept saying, no, we keep going south, the furthest south possible. He didn't understand why. And I couldn't explain to him why, because that's not how intuition works. Intuition doesn't come from here. It comes from here. It's just a feeling.
Yeah, you have to, that's the wisdom.
It's here.
Upper consciousness.
Exactly, Christina. When you listen to this, your brain starts to work with organizing what it is that the heart is trying to tell you. So my heart kept saying, no, we go south. We got to keep going south. So we kept going south, and we got south, and our boat started to get fixed. And he, we started getting the boat fixed. He needed to go back to the island, so he flew back. And we started to see in the maps, because you have to constantly look at the weather. Our boat was already on land. It was lifted because they needed to get some stuff done at the bottom shell of the boat. And there was a tropical storm forming. And the tropical storm very quickly became a hurricane level 2, then 3, and then 4. So this all happened very, very fast. Luckily, we were safe. We were in the south, in Grenade. But that tiny little island, 𝐂𝐫𝐞𝐚, which was north, got completely destroyed.
Wow. Completely. And that was all thanks to your intuition. Amazing.
Those boats that were there, that we knew of, our friends' boats, they got destroyed.
Incredible.
Our boat was safe, thank God. But that's intuition.
Wow. So follow your intuition. Liliana, tell us a little bit, let's go to Lost in Translation recipes, the last part of the show, where it's really kind of fun, and everything was fun and interesting. But something you want to share, a recipe, a book, a story of Lost in Translation, right? That it's like cultural mishap, language, cultural tradition, or a recipe that you found or that you created around your travels, or your favorite that we can share with our people here.
Absolutely. Okay. So as a Colombian living now in France, obviously I crave Colombian food. I don't have it nearby. And I was really depressed, to be honest with you, Christina. I'm like, oh my God, where am I going to get las arepas? Now, I don't know if you know what arepas are, but I don't have any with me. Actually, I have some in my freezer. If you give me a second, I can get you an arepa, and I can show you what it is. But it's
sure.
Yeah? Let me go get
Yeah.
Let me go get my arepas. Give me a second. Vale. Okay, I got my arepas.
Okay, so Liliana here has brought us some of her arepas, right?
Yes.
From Colombia.
So
Show us and tell us what it is. I know what they are for some of our listeners, viewers.
absolutely. Here in France, I went to this tiny little village, and all of a sudden I see a Colombian flag. Now, Colombian flag is yellow, blue, and red. And I'm thinking, no way. I go over there, and there's a lady who sells Colombian food. I never would have expected to see these. Now, they look they're frozen. This one's frozen, but this is an arepa. It's kind of like it's made out of corn. You can add cheese, you can add butter, put a little bit of salt. You put it in a something called kind of like a roaster. You can roast it. You can put it in the oven. I like to put it in a parrilla. I don't know how you say that in English.
A grill?
Like a grill.
A grill.
Yes. So that it starts to warm up. It's kind of like a cornstarch flavorish kind of. But when you add butter and cheese, it's delicious. It's natural. It has no gluten. It's such a great meal. It's made out of corn. I love these, and I found them here in France. So for me, this is fascinating because they're not.
Liliana, find a recipe that you like from arepas and send it to me. That we'll put it in the comments,
Absolutely.
in the description for
Yes.
our people. Anyway, anything else you want to share? Any lost in translation stories? A book? A movie?
Let me think. There's a lot. Well, I'm reading a lot of yoga books. I don't know if that has a lot to do with lost in translation, but I am learning the drum. I'm using the drum now in my yoga sessions, in my sessions that I do. So when I go into the Poconos for this retreat, I will be using my drum. I don't know if you want to see the drum.
Do you wanna close the show with a little bit of your drums?
Absolutely. I'm going to show you the drum that I'm using when I'm in the Poconos.
Okay, so we will close the show with the drums of Liliana instead of our regular music jingle. And thank you, Liliana, for being here. We'll share your information. Hopefully, Liliana, if you want us to have some sessions or areas you're interested in, let us know, and we'll have Liliana see if she can prepare for other podcasts about life coaching about them. If you're interested in a session, personal session, you have your information below. And just remember your vision board. Don't forget it. Don't forget to subscribe, to follow up, seeing Crossing Cultures with Christina Lura, and share it, because we wanna expand all these beautiful stories, and we wanna know your comments, what you think, and what we want. This is for you guys. And thank you, Liliana. Let's close the show with you.
Thank you so much, Christina, for having me. This was so much fun. It was so good to share with everybody, to go back to America, to share some of the work that I do. And this beautiful drum that I'm bringing from Barcelona, a friend of mine is letting me borrow it. It's made out of real sheep. Okay, it's a sheep, and it has a beautiful sound.
Thank you, Liliana. Thank you, amigos.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of your day. We hope you enjoy this show. Bye. Until next week.